Ever since I was a little girl, I dreamed of running my own restaurant. Not just any restaurant, a place filled with laughter, clinking glasses, the smell of fresh bread and sizzling steak. A place that felt like home to anyone who walked through the door. I would stand behind the host stand, greeting guests, proud of every little detail. The lighting, the menu, the flowers on the tables. It was my dream, the thing that kept me going, even when life felt impossible. I told Olivia everything. She was my best friend since high school, the person I trusted most in the world. We spent countless nights in my tiny apartment, eating takeout and talking about our futures. Olivia claimed she had no big dreams of her own. "I'm just figuring it out," she would say, twirling her perfect hair around her finger while scrolling mindlessly through her phone. When I found out that one of the best new restaurants in town was looking for an assistant director, a role that could grow into a director position, I poured my heart into the application. It wasn't just a job, it was the first step toward everything I had ever wanted. I spent hours crafting my resume, obsessing over every word. Olivia offered to help me. "Let me take a look," she said sweetly. "I'll polish it up. You know I'm better with words." I was grateful, stupidly, naively grateful. The night before the application was due, I emailed her my final draft. She said she'd make a few tweaks and submit it for me since she knew someone in the hiring department. I trusted her. I went to bed feeling hopeful for the first time in months. Days passed, then weeks. I never got a call. I assumed it was just the usual heartbreak. Too many candidates, not enough spots. I forced myself to move on, to keep applying, to keep dreaming. Until one night, sitting at the bar of that very restaurant, drowning my sorrows in a cheap glass of Merlot, I saw her, Olivia, wearing the restaurant's signature blazer, laughing with the owners, walking the floor like she belonged there. My chest tightened so hard I could barely breathe. At first, I told myself there had to be some mistake. Maybe she got a different job? Maybe she was just visiting? But no. Within minutes, I overheard a waiter congratulating her. "Our new assistant director." My world cracked open. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was betrayal. Later that night, shaking with rage and heartbreak, I confronted her. I cornered her in the parking lot, my voice trembling. "Did you even send my resume?" She didn't even flinch. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I saw an opportunity, and I took it. It's not my fault you're too slow to fight for what you want." I left that night with tears streaming down my face, swearing I would never be that naive again. For months, I spiraled. I worked 2 jobs just to survive. I cried myself to sleep. I doubted everything, my dreams, my instincts, my own worth. But somewhere deep inside the pit of my humiliation, something ignited. If Olivia could steal my dream, I could build a bigger one. I started saving. Every penny. I studied business administration at night. I waited tables at the grimiest diners to learn the real ropes of the industry. I read every book, watched every documentary, attended every free seminar I could find. And slowly, painfully, I climbed my way up. 5 years later, I was no longer the girl crying over a glass of cheap wine. I was different, sharper, smarter, and most importantly, ready. When the owners of that same restaurant ran into financial trouble, rumors spread. I saw the for sale sign go up, and something clicked deep inside me. It was time. I made the calls. I found investors who believed in me. I put together a plan so airtight it made their heads spin. I walked into the negotiation room with my head high and my heart pounding. And when the papers were signed and the restaurant was officially mine, I sat in my car, clutching the keys, and cried. But this time, they were tears of victory. I had bought the very place where my dreams had been stolen. And Olivia? She was still working there, still assistant director, still wearing that same blazer. She didn't know yet, but she was about to find out who her new boss was. I was going to make sure she never forgot it. I arrived before opening hours. The air inside still carried that familiar scent of fresh herbs and simmering sauces. Nothing had changed in the decor, yet, but everything had changed in reality. My heels echoed sharply on the tiled floor as I walked through the dining area. Staff were buzzing in and out of the kitchen, preparing for the day. A few of them glanced up, confused by the unfamiliar face walking in like she owned the place. Because I did. I called for a staff meeting. The general manager, unaware that I was the new owner, hesitated until I introduced myself. "Hi, everyone. My name is Claire. As of today, I'm the new owner of this restaurant." Gasps, whispered shock. One of the chefs dropped a pan, and then Olivia walked in, late as usual. She stopped mid-step when she saw me standing at the center of the dining floor. Her face froze. Her mouth opened slightly, as if forming a question she couldn't quite speak. I didn't blink. "Olivia," I said calmly, "nice of you to join us." The staff watched silently as her eyes darted around, clearly trying to figure out what kind of twisted prank this was. "You own this place?" she asked, her voice cracking just a little. "I do. Bought it last week," I said, keeping my voice even. I figured it was time I reclaimed what should have been mine years ago. She stood there stunned, no witty comeback, no smug smile. "We'll be making some changes around here," I continued, addressing the team. "Fresh leadership, new vision, higher standards. If anyone has a problem with that, speak now." No one said a word, especially not Olivia. I let the silence stretch before offering her a thin smile. "You're still on the schedule, Olivia, for now. Let's see how your performance holds up under actual management." Her face turned pale. I walked away before she could respond, heels clicking, heart steady. This was just the beginning. A week passed. Olivia kept her head down, barely speaking. Her charm was gone. That effortless confidence she always wore like perfume evaporated. I watched quietly, not to humiliate her, but to observe. I wanted to see if the person who once betrayed me had changed at all. Spoiler, she hadn't. On the 7th day, she was late again. Orders went out wrong. Staff whispered about her behind her back. One even caught her yelling at a line cook in the walk-in. I called her into my office. She sat down stiffly, arms crossed. "You know why you're here," I said. Her eyes narrowed. "Let me guess, you're firing me." "I'm holding you accountable," I replied. "You're consistently late. Unprofessional. You undermine the team. And most importantly, you're not who this place needs." She scoffed. "So that's it? Revenge?" I leaned forward. "No. This is restoration of standards, of integrity, of everything you tried to rip from me." Her mouth curled. "You think you're better than me now?" I smiled gently. "I don't have to think it. I built something. You took shortcuts. We both arrived at the same place, but only one of us earned it." She didn't speak. She didn't have to. Her silence was louder than any insult she could have thrown. I slid the termination letter across the desk. "Your final paycheck will be processed by the end of the week. Security will escort you out." She stood up slowly, grabbing the paper with a trembling hand. As she reached the door, I said one last thing. "5 years ago, you told me I was too slow to fight for what I wanted. Turns out, I was just patient enough to win." She paused, then left without a word. That evening, I stood alone in the dining room, sunlight casting golden reflections across the floor. The restaurant buzzed with life again, and for the first time in years, I felt peace. Not because Olivia was gone, but because I had finally come home to the dream she once tried to steal.